Seth.
Hey, you.
Good.
For joining. All right. Still missing a few, but I think at this point. Hi, how are you?
Hi, this is Ann Darmstadt. How are you?
Hey, Ann, how are you? Good, thank you.
Oh, getting in the WebEx right now.
Okay. And while you're doing that, I'll just, hopefully everybody else knows there is a WebEx, so if you're on the phone but not in the WebEx, there's a web going on. If you open up the meeting invite in Outlook, there's a link, you click the link, follow directions, and you should be able to come into the WebEx. Is anybody not able to join the WebEx?
I'm still working on getting in, Ed.
Amy? Okay. Wait, hopefully. Is it thinking? Is it loading, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me know.
Okay, I think it's run a Terry. I'm in the office, yeah. So, okay. Should be on in a moment. Just preparing my meeting.
Okay. No problem.
I'm in.
Is that what Amy?
And
Okay. Hey, how are you doing?
I'm still working on it. If you want to get started, we just updated to 365 this week, so
Fine.
our systems are going really, really slow.
You want 365? I feel your pain. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and get going? So this is ARG. I think I have met most of you. So welcome to this Affiliate Continuing Education Coordinator role training. And I'd like to start by thanking you for, I don't know what you volunteered for this, I'll call it, or whether you were voluntold that you were doing it. Either way, I appreciate your support, and I think overall this continuing education initiative is an exciting initiative in dental partners. I'll explain a little bit more about it in a minute. But the purpose of this training is to set you up for success in this role as the continuing education or CE coordinator affiliate. So you'll be working with Learning Center administrative resources going forward to set up and track continuing education events for your affiliate. So a little bit down here, as you, I think, are probably aware, Partners earlier this year, in the time, was awarded by the American Dental Association, or ADA, Continuing Education Recognition Provider, SERP is the acronym for that, accreditation status for an initial 2 years. So what does it mean? What it means is that American Dental Partners can now award continuing education credit to providers who, as we require CE annually for the maintenance of their licenses. It's a pretty important. It's extremely important that our providers in our organization do their required amount of CE to maintain their license. Obviously, their license is a critical part of their livelihood and their ability to practice dentistry. So, in the past, and a couple of years ago, we had a partnership with Wake Forest University, and we were able to award continuing education credit for some of our programs through our partnership with Wake Forest. That ship, something on their side changed from an organizational standpoint, and they let us know that they would no longer be able to work with us. And since that time, that was about 2 years ago, maybe even a little more, we have been able to award CE for any trainings. There are 3, I think, affiliates within our organization: Metro Dental Care in Minnesota, Forward Dental in Milwaukee, or the Wisconsin area, and Kennel down in Austin, Texas area. Have had themselves individually are certified CE, so they've been able to issue CE to their providers and their affiliates. But the affiliates have been out of luck in terms of being able to get CE for the training. So this certification means is that through the ADA, we can now award CE credit for our applicable training programs. So many of the ADPI-sponsored training programs will be CE eligible now. So, for example, programs that American Dental Partners sponsors, like Motivation, will be eligible for continuing education credit now. So when people attend motivational communication, that'll be CE eligible. The other where you all come in is that any affiliate-sponsored programs, like, for example, a study club, or if you have quarterly speakers come in, or time frame you have quarterly speakers come in to talk to your providers in the evenings. As an example, I was just out at Metro last week, and I did a 2-hour CE on conflict management for the doctors. They have a quarterly doctor meeting in the evenings, and I did a 2-hour event for them that was people were going to eat for. If you really does those kinds of things on any type of regular basis, those events will now be eligible, and American Dental Partners will be able to award continuing education credit to your providers for those events. So it's a development. I think the recruiting team, I know, as they're out there talking to new doctors and hygienists, are starting to put this up as a benefit. That that you join this organization, you'll be able to get continuing education credit through our training offerings. I think potentially help with retention. We've got somebody here. They're getting help with retention, so it's a pretty exciting development so far. Okay, so a little more about your role. So you are going forward going to be the CE coordinator for your affiliates. So what does that mean? First, ADPI-sponsored program, for example, motivational communication, and by that I mean the learning and development team and learning center resources will take care of awarding CE for that program. You don't have to worry about any of the American Dental Partners sponsored initiatives. We don't need assistance for that. Your assistance, though, is anything local that's sponsored by the affiliate. So, for example, a study club or a quarterly speaker that are coming in to talk to the clinical team. Your help with. So it starts with notifying the Learning Center of a CE event. So you're in touch with the Learning Center, and we'll talk about how to do that and say, hey, next month we're having a speaker come in on a Wednesday night. Location, specific, give us all the information. And you'll complete required electronic forms to do that. So we have an electronic form that we're going to walk through in a bit. You'll get information that is required to set up the event. You'll also for posting or distributing local marketing material for the upcoming CE event. And basically all that means is a flyer that perhaps you email around to the potential attendees. You want to email it to the practice managers and have them posted in the break room, just notifying them that there's a CE event up, so marketing it. And we've got a standard template for that. You will have the point of contact for attendee questions leading up to the event. So, for example, if somebody wants to the venue, or they're not sure what time it starts, or you'll be the point of contact for questions leading up to the event. And if the event occurs, you're going to use the attendance record at the CE event. Last step is going to be critically important. Obviously, we can't CE if we don't have an accurate record of who attended it, accurate names and all that. We'll talk about that as well. So I would estimate, we're just getting into this, but I would estimate and I worked with a few different people on my team to put this together. And we estimate that 1 or 2 hours of effort per CE event, and that 1 or 2 hours could be spread over or even 6 or 8 weeks worth of time, depending on how early you're setting it up. So we're going to it's not going to be an overly burdensome amount of effort to help us out with these CE events, one per event. Okay, so this is what the administration process looks like. I know this is a bit of a chart, and please don't try to read. I just want to show you that I want your attention actually to the 4 rows. At the top is the affiliate CE coordinator. That's your role. All of those boxes in green, those are the responsibilities that you're going to have. We're going to go through each of these responsibilities in detail after this. The next row is the CE provider, the orange boxes. The CE provider is the speaker or maybe a group of people who are actually delivering the CE. So speaking if it's a speaking event. The next row is the Learning Center administration team, and those are the folks on the Learning and Development team who will be responsible for getting the event set up in the Learning Center and working with you. Those are folks to send the forms and attendance records and those kinds of things. And then row on the bottom is just the folks who are actually attending the CE, your affiliate. Okay. We're going to focus here for the remainder of the presentation here on this top responsibilities in work with us. So here are the steps. These onto those green boxes. So you're going to be responsible for, well, it starts, let me go back here. It starts with this circle on the upper left. Your affiliate decides we're going to have an CE event for our providers. Let's for the sake of argument, let's say a speaker, to have an evening speaker for your providers, and it's going to happen next month. So they get with you and let you know we're going to have it next month. It's going to be on, the Wednesday night of the 10th at 7 o'clock. It's going to be at this location. You will take information and you will put that into a setup checklist form. You'll email that to the Learning Center. We're going to look at the form momentarily. So in that form will also be the type of event, a bio for the speaker, learning objectives, a description of the event. We'll go through all that. You'll email the Learning Center a CE invite template and post that at the affiliate as necessary. We'll take a look at what that looks like. The Learning Center will then get the event set up in the Learning Center and let you know that it's available for registration, and then you'll then communicate to your provider audience at your affiliate that the CE event is now available for registration in the Learning Center, and strongly encourage everybody to pre-register for the event. Shortly after the event, you'll get a CE sign-in sheet, and you will use that to manage the attendee sign-in sessions. That step can be delegated. You do not have to actually attend the CE event yourself if you conflict or if you don't want to attend, but it'll be critically important that if you don't attend it, you delegate that to somebody. And again, that attendance process has to be managed really well and really accurately to make sure that we have an accurate record of who attended. But you can delegate that. And then sending a typed CE sign-in sheet back to the Learning Center at the end. So far, we're going to go through each of these steps in detail. Okay. The CE checklist. Again, start your affiliate deciding that they're going to offer a CE event. You'll guide. You're going to complete the checklist, complete the first tab and the second and third tabs for all events, and then the fourth and fifth tabs as needed. So let's go ahead and look at the checklist now, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, this is an Excel-based tool. I'll be emailing this out to you here, and you can multiple tabs on it. It's the first tab guide, and you can see the yellow tabs need to be completed for all CE courses. The green tabs need to be completed as applicable. And the tabs are just for reference. Those are the ADA CERP and policies that you really don't need to, you shouldn't spend too much time looking at those. It's just the yellow and green tabs that you're going to be responsible for. So the checklist, here's the first tab. So this is going to be required for all CE events. So you've notified your affiliate to do a CE. Name and the name of the if it's to be done on site at one of your resource group perhaps, just be the name and the address of your resource group. If it's being done off-site in a hotel, or at a country club, or the one that I did at Metro Dental Care last week was at the Edina Country Club just outside of Minneapolis. Address, the facility contact, that's going to be you, your name and your phone. So you will be the contact for this. In the course, that's self-explanatory, the length of the course in hours. It begins, that'll be the date on which you want registration to begin in the Learning Center. Time the program begins, if it's 7 o'clock at night, it would be 7 o'clock there. It's going across a lunchtime, so if it's an 8-hour, 9 to course, and you're going to take an hour for lunch, the program would begin at 9, lunch would be 12 to 1, program conclusion would be 5 o'clock. Details of the time. If you're not having lunch, not applicable, so, you know, if it's an evening, it's at 9, it could be just be program begins at 7, program ends at 9 at night. Provider for this course. So is there any outside speaker coming for this course? Yes, if there is. No, if there's not. It is a commercial sponsor for this course. This would be a commercial sponsor example would be a vendor. So let's say you're maybe having, I don't know, Reston come in and do a presentation on a Reston for your hygienist or maybe your hygienist and your doctors. So vendor, yes, no, not. Material, course speaking, or if there's multiple speaker names, plural, whoever's speaking, their name here, is honorarium. Basically, that just means, is somebody getting paid for this CE event? If there's no payment, the answer is no. If somebody's getting paid, you would want a guest box, and then you would want to put what the honorarium is, $500, $1,000, whatever the case is. And this might be hard to read, but if there's a speaker fee to be that's going to trigger the need to do a W-9 form, one of the green tabs down here. Speaker address, whatever address is, speaker bio, course overview, and key learning objectives. Now, you should write the speaker bio. You should not have to write the course overview. You should not have to write the learning objectives. This is information that whoever's presenting the CE provides to you. So you will tell them, okay, I need a bio. That's a description of, you know, who you are, what your background is, maybe educational background, and over that's a brief description of the course, the topic, and then the objective. This last one is pretty important. We need learning objectives. What are people going to learn after they at the event? They're going to know that they didn't know before. Could be 2, could be 3, could be 4. But what are the learning objectives of the presentation? And they're providing you with this information. You should not have to be writing any of this. So this should just, you know, they send this to you in an email or maybe an attachment, and you can just cut and paste it into this part of the document. What question do you have? You pretty much this whole, I mean, you know, you're making up any of this. All this information should be provided to you by the person or affiliate who's coordinating the CE speaker, probably a combination of both. Information that you've given and putting it into this. And the reason it's important is because we use this information to set up in the center. And things like the speaker bio, the course overview, and the key learning objectives, those are all ADPI requirements. For us to be issue continuing education credit for this CE event, we need all this information. And when it comes time for us to be recertified in a couple of years as a cert provider, we're going to have to document that we have this for our things that we've awarded CE for. That's why it's important. Question about the first tab of this document. All right, let's go to the image author. Yeah, go ahead.
Ed, you were on mute for a second. Do you recommend setting the registration time to begin before a course starts? A month, a week? What is there a recommendation?
Well, you can see that's a great question. You can see here we're requesting that checklist and necessary documents, or sent to the Learning Center, which is learningcenter@adpi.com, 4 weeks before the course date. That's the request.
If you have this, how long will it take you to set up so that I can start the registration begins at what date?
I'm going to say, this is a new process for us, but I'm going to say within 24 hours of receiving this form back from you, we'll have it set up and ready to go in the Learning Center.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
And everybody else, if you guys know 3 months in advance that you're doing this, go ahead and send it to us. I mean, you don't have to wait until.
Great, absolutely right, Tracy. Yeah. Yeah. The further in advance we set it up, and so you can then notify your providers that it's in the Learning Center, register, and as many people as you can get to register for it as possible. That can make the attendance take closing of the roster at the end much easier. To the extent that attending pre-registered, those are already in there, and make much less work on the back end closing out the roster, which I'll explain at the end. Now, you're probably never going to get 100% of people to register. You're always going to have people that probably show up and they haven't pre-registered. You know, that happens. We understand that. Let me back here. I'm going to take that back. Let's talk about the image authenticity form and the conflict of interest form, both of which are required for all events. So these are, again, like the checklist, you completing this yourself. You should be getting whoever's sending the CE to complete this for you. And what you can do is you can get this out, or you could email this to the presenter. You could scan it and email it, and it's self-explanatory. If they present CE on a regular basis, they're going to be used to completing these. They should know what to do with it. So this authenticity form is they just have to certify that as you can, to the best of my knowledge, all visual images, electronic or otherwise, that my associates used during this program have not been misrepresented or falsified. Wherever errors have been made, corrections will be fully explained, and then they document or describe any images that have been altered for educational purposes. And they down here send it back to you. Be to print this tab of the worksheet. If you can see if I do print here, it's formatted nicely. You print it out, email it to your presenter, and they email it back. So that's required for all events. It's the conflict of interest. Again, whoever is delivering the CE needs to fill out a conflict of interest. So again, if they present CE on a regular basis, they'll be familiar with this. Oh yeah, send me the conflict of interest. I'll get that back to you. They sign it, they date it, they print it. If there are any unusual situations, they document those on here. They print it back to you. So again, here, if you do file print here, it's format out. You print, scan, and mail it to them. They'll get it back to you. On the conflict of interest. Okay. So those are the two that are required in all cases. So in all cases, the checklist, the image authenticity, and the conflict of interest forms are required for us to set up a CE. If it's a commercial sponsor, they need to fill out the commercial sponsor agreement. Where you would print this, scan it, email it to them, they fill it out, company signature, company representative, get it back to you. If there's a gray area, somebody's being paid, and that could whether it's somebody internally or externally. If there's any payment changing, they're going to have to fill out a W-9 form, and here, you print it, scan it, they'll get it back to you. Let me point, and we'll quickly. first is required in all cases. The emergency form and the conflict of interest form is going to be required in all cases. The commercialship and the W-9 will only be required as needed. And those applicable documents get emailed to the center. So commercial sponsorship when an outside party is delivering the event. W-9 CE provides being compensated. Okay. Question on any of the checklists, that Excel file. Okay. The CE invite template is the next thing. So you will complete the CE invite template and post that at your affiliate as necessary. And I'll give you an example of what Forward Dental does. Forward is one of the affiliates that has been actually, they are ADA certified themselves. They have been for a number of years. They've been able to issue CE to their providers, the certification that American Dental Partners now has. And what they do is the form, which we'll look at in a minute, gets emailed to the practice managers with a request that it gets put up in the break room, so that, or you know, the doctor lounge or both, so that the providers in the practice have an opportunity to see it. It all get emailed to the providers, all the providers in the affiliate ahead of time, and that's what's required from a city standpoint. So what this form looks like for this. So here's like it's a template. Insert the information, and you can take once you get the checklist completed, the Excel document we looked at, you can just cut and paste. It's all the same information: the date, the time, the location. There's a fee. You can put there. If there's no charge, you put it there. The person is your name. The refund and cancellation policy here. If there's a fee, you can delete that. If there's not a fee, anything in yellow is editable. All dentists here. Somebody asked in the session the other day that we did. You could certainly add if hygienists are invited as well, or if all providers. You could edit this part document here if you want. This language here is not editable. That's ADA required language that needs to be on this. The start and end time, all the details of the time, whether lunch is provided is editable. Time, format, lecture, whatever. Speaker, all this stuff comes off the checklist, the course summary, the learning objectives, and then this one down here is required by the ADA. You would put the number of hours here. If it's a 2-hour program, 2, 8, whatever the case is. One provider name down here if applicable. Here's an example of one that was completed by, this was the event that took place back in August down at Christie Dental in Florida. And this is completed. Here's the speaker, course summary, the learning objectives. Complete that form, which should be easy once the checklist is just cut and paste, email to the providers, having practice managers posted in the practices. You will hear from the Learning Center that, okay, the CE event is set up in the Learning Center. It's now available for registration. Communicate to your providers that the session is available for registration. Email is a great way to do that, and strongly encourage your attendees to pre-register for the session. Send them an email, give them the session, they go into the Learning Center, they look for it, they register themselves for it. To the point where the CE is about to take place, you will the CE sign sheet, and you will use that to manage the CE sign in at the session. I said you don't actually do this yourself. You can delegate this if you're not going to be attending the CE. Let's say it's in the evening, and a commitment or personal commitment, a conflict, you can't be there, or you're there and you want to delegate this, that's perfectly okay. But to make sure whoever you delegate this to does a good, accurate job with it, for obvious reasons. So each attendee is going to be required to both print and sign their name on the sign-in sheet. And legible handwriting for the printed names is important. So let's take a look at the sign-in sheet. Here's the sheet. You can see you can edit it with the course name, your course date. It's got a place for the printed name. It's got a place for their signature, and a place for their title. At the bottom, it's got more required language by the ADA. So this is an area you don't have to edit it. It's multiple pages, so it's got spots for a number of people to sign in. If you want to, just by hitting a button here and going on to another page, if need be. Question on the sign-in sheet. Okay. The lab is, and this last step, I'll explain it, but I'm going to also tell you that we have been talking this week about potentially changing the way this step works even before we start doing this. So I'll tell you that it's going to work for the time being, but the chances are that this last step is going to change in the very near future, and we'll provide more training at the point that it does change. But for right now, we're going to require you to send us a typed sign sheet to the learner. So you're going to want to take the sign-in sheet was generated at the CE event, the one that we just looked at, and you're going to send us a typed version of that. So be in really any format. You could send that to us in an Excel file, any type of typed, with the is that we need people's names typed, so that we're going to read people's signatures or names, or sometimes people use a nickname different from their name in the Learning Center. So we're going to require a typed sign sheet in the Learning Center. We will take that typed sign sheet, we'll close the roster, validate that everybody, mark everybody who attended as attended, add that didn't pre-register, and close the roster. And that will then generate a certificate in the completed script of everybody that attended. And let me show you what that looks like. Sheet, we'll close the roster, and attendees will then be able to print a certificate out of the Learning Center. Let me show you what center certificate looks like here. Just going to Learning Center real quick here. I had somebody who I know attended that event in Florida. Okay, this is a provider down in Florida, and I'm going to go to the complete area for transcript. So this is all she's completed, and she comes down here and she sees that this Understanding the Patient Effective Communication Through Education, that was the CE event back in August. You can hear it says View Certificate here. I click this View Certificate. Here's the certificate. It's got the American logo. It's got the name of the course. It's got her name on it. Here's the name of the presenter, the dental, the time, the details, and this is all the required language down here. So if I was writing, I would print this, and when Laura needs to verify, for her license renewal that she did the required amount of CE, just her approved for this particular event. She got 2 hours of CE for this event. We're to start managing people's CE validation. That's the skill responsibilities. Individual providers will still be required to manage on CE and provide proof at the appropriate time. So it's the event, we're responsible for coming in here and printing the certificate. If they print it and they lose it, she can always come back in and reprint it. It's not a one-time only thing. So communicate to your providers that that's what they need to do to get their certificate. Make it themselves. They shouldn't. If people ask you to print it for them, I would strongly encourage you to push back and say, teach them how to fish, teach them how to print it themselves. Question.
What are we doing with the piece of paper that has the attendees' actual signatures on it?
Good question. And on that, I think that's an excellent question that I think I want to talk through with the administration team on that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure that we need to actually maintain that. So when it comes time for us to renew our certification, we need to pick programs we need to pick programs, and we need to basically produce all this documentation for those programs. We don't need to do it for every single CE event, but we need to sample and produce the documentation and show them that we have it. So we need to keep those files somewhere, and I'll come back to you on that. That's a great question. The change that I was referring to just a few minutes ago that I think we're likely to make rather than later is instead of having you so people, the CE takes place, you have people sign in on the sheet. Instead of us the sign-in sheet and us closing the roster in the learning management system, we are certainly considering empowering you as the CE coordinator to use the sign-in sheet to close the roster in the learning management system yourself. We will need to provide you with more training on how to actually do that, which we will do if we decide to do that. I think it would be less work in the run for you to just take the roster that you get at the CE event and log in Learning Center. We'll close the roster and close the roster yourself. It'll be less work than typing up a copy of the sign-in sheet and sending that to us. So we're talking through that this week, and more to come on that change. What do we have? We're almost done. Okay. Let me close by just saying, again, thank you for your support in this process, whether you were volunteer this or whether you were told that you were doing it. Either way, appreciate your support. And this is a new process for us. So as we've tried, myself and a couple of other people have tried to think through the process as best we could and come up with a way that's going to be easiest for everybody. But as we actually do this, like anything else, we'll probably learn some things, and it's very possible, in fact, probably even likely that there'll be ways that we can improve the process. So, and we'd love to hear from you as we start to do this with suggestions on how to improve and streamline the process. We're certainly, the last thing we're trying to do with this is make unnecessary extra work for any of you. I'm aware that everybody has a ton going on, and the last thing we want to do is, give you a make-work project that's unnecessary. So, if for how to streamline the process, make it easier, love to hear as we get going.
Sounds good.
Okay. If there's no other questions, then I'll let you go. Thanks so much for attending, and we'll be in touch soon with. I'm gonna email out the documents that we reviewed. I did one of these the other day, so I'll email them to everybody, and then we look forward to working with you on this. Don't hesitate to give me a call directly if you have a question. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Ed.
Have a good evening.